Hey there. I'm just going to dive right into this topic and not try to overthink this. So if I seem all over the map, I apologize. I've probably said that to you guys before, and I apologize for that too. But hopefully at this point you guys have come to just know my idiosyncrasies and my common threads in my behavior and look past some of the little stuff. And I appreciate that about you guys. If you're watching this, you probably know that I had somewhat of like a little public mini meltdown last night. I'm recording this on Saturday, by the way. Saturday, I don't even know the date because we're in quarantine. Saturday the 18th. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, maybe I can kind of summarize this really quickly. But last night I uploaded a video very frantically because I was having technical issues and had a live chat that I needed to prepare for. But I eventually got the video up. Didn't really get a chance to check out the comments a ton before that live chat. So that's usually when I get a chance to kind of read the room and see how my video is being received. I didn't really get a chance to do that. I had to jump right into that, my first ever live chat, which was amazing and wonderful and felt really good. It feels really good to have a Patreon. And when I finally got off of that live chat, exhausted at 1 o'clock in the morning, which is really late for somebody of my age, I took that opportunity to look at the comments on my video and noticed some very common themes. Or kind of a common theme where some people were very tactful about the message they were delivering and some people not so much. But the general message was, you keep talking about this topic, you shouldn't have to keep repeating yourself so much, just let it go and move on. Which was, I think, about half the message, and the other half was kind of, we're concerned about you, that you feel like you have to do this, that this is, for lack of a better word, coming from a place of kind of poor mental health, if you will. And it's funny because it kind of reminds me of, I wish I had a better analogy, but there was a time in college that I went to a party. As you guys probably know, I am sober now, so this was way back in the day. But there was a time in college, I was at a small party, everybody was taking shots of vodka, tequila maybe, I don't know. And after we all took our round of shots, there was like a couple, 2 or 3 more shots worth left in the bottle, and I just tipped it up, thinking that once that bottle hit the table, everybody was going to cheer for me. And instead, the room went silent and everybody looked at me concerned. And then I promptly blacked out. So their concerns were valid. But that's kind of how this felt. I really enjoyed making the video that I made. I really was excited to put it up. I loved it when I finished editing it, and really looked forward to what the comments were going to say. And as to why this hurt on a different level than, say, mean comments or like hate comments, I've spent the past day or so trying to sort out. I don't fully understand. I think part of it might just be a growing pain, really. I think sometimes I forget, I think sometimes my audience forgets that I've really only been doing this for 2 months. And although at times I feel like my channel's not going anywhere, it really has gone somewhere in a very short time. And I think sometimes I forget that, and I think sometimes you guys forget that. And it makes sense. You guys tend to like what I'm doing. You guys think that, not all of you, I'm sure, but a lot of you think that I am producing content that is of a higher caliber, that is on par with somebody who has been doing this for a lot longer, and thus has kind of fine-tuned how to handle things like comments and figure out what kind of content they want to put out, whether they want to take certain bits of criticism and advice or push forward with a vision. And clearly I haven't gotten there, and I don't want to be too hard on myself for not having been there at 2 months. And one of the things that I am kind of learning and figuring out, especially with these recent commentary videos, is knowing how to step back from hate comments or mean comments or just argumentative comments, especially when I know that I'm not in the place to handle that well. And it sucks, because not too long ago I was at a point where I was able to read all of my comments, and because my audience was so much smaller, those were mostly positive. So I was able to go through, respond to most of them, or at least it got to a point where at least I was able to go through and heart all of them. I'm starting to think maybe I shouldn't be hearting as many comments as I'm used to. It's kind of my way of acknowledging comments where people are nice and supportive. Don't think there's anything fundamentally wrong with that, but I know that people read it a certain way, and I don't want to get off track. What I'm learning to do is learning to back off from hate comments, argumentative comments, things like that, comments that are going to upset me. And I've put some mechanisms in place to help me with that. I have to sacrifice some of the good comments to protect myself from some of the bad ones, and I just simply can't read all of them. But I do want to clarify a couple of things, and I hope you'll hear me out. When I make a video in the style that I did yesterday, kind of this rant style video where I go into discussions or debates that I've been having in my comments, I understand that some of you are concerned that that is coming from a place of anxiety or frustration or just overall my well-being not intact. When in actuality, those videos I love making more than a lot of the videos that I make. And for me, and I might just be a weird person for liking this, but for me, having these debates with people who are kind of on the fringe, like people who were kind of more or less opposed to me, but willing to kind of hear me out. Those were the discussions where I decided to pop those out of the comment section and bring that to a video. And I valued those conversations because I value opportunities to be heard and opportunities to really kind of break down my thought process, and allow somebody to either agree with me or at least see where I'm coming from, but at the end of the day, respect my thought process, and really to kind of learn about my own thought process. I like that challenge to some extent. We start off with a topic like an eye roll, and I say that sucks. And then in the comments, they ask, why is that so bad? And then in my second video, I talk about why that's bad. And then in those comments, somebody asks why I'm expecting better of somebody. And so I make a video talking about why I expect that. And I get that feels very repetitive when I'm talking about the same people and referencing the same behaviors. So I do get that. And for those of you that are frustrated with seeing that over and over again, I apologize to some extent, but I don't want you to think that that's coming from an unhappy place in me. That is coming from a place where I feel like I've had light bulb moments and I'm so excited to kind of put my thoughts into words. And I may or may not have to tweak how I get those messages across. I'm not sure just yet, and hopefully you guys will be able to help me with this video that I'm making now. Somebody did make a good point that I very much appreciated, and I don't have verbatim what it is right in front of me, but they said something more or less like, when I pay so much attention to the haters in my comments, it feels as if I'm ignoring the vast majority of you who support me. And that made a ton of sense. That made a lot of sense as to why my last video was so ill received by people that support me, by people that just want me to do well, and just want to continue enjoying my content. So that made sense to me. And my response to that, and I hope that this can kind of give some perspective, I don't think YouTubers really have an accurate perception of how much love versus hate they're getting on their videos, or at least not this early in the game. So the way I kind of broke that down was by saying that, you know, it might very well be that my videos are receiving 90% love and 10% hate. And that's there in the like to dislike ratio, and I should pay more attention to that, honestly. That's on me. But say it's, 90 good and 10 bad. However, I'm in the comments section, and in the comments it feels like 50-50. But as we all know, negative comments, no matter how much we try to brush them off, speak louder than the positive ones. I hate that. I hate that so much. I want to value you guys' support much more than somebody's negativity. Of course I do. But I am human. So that 50-50 then starts to feel like 10-90 sometimes, to where it feels like all I've gotten from the comment section is either negativity or just debate, friction. And that's sometimes what I focus on. And I try to do so tactfully. I try to do so in a way that brings forth some new insight. Now, for those of you who are kind of with me all along, that were like, yes, we hear you. You made your first 3 points and we got that. We don't need any explanation. Then hearing me break those points down can feel unnecessary. I kind of looking back, that's sort of what I picked up on. I could be wrong, but I'm feeling like that's what you guys were trying to tell me, is that you didn't need me to break those things down for you. That essentially I was breaking these things down for a minority in my comments section. And a lot of you thought that that was probably not something I wanted to do, whereas that was something I wanted to do. So that's where it gets a little bit tricky, but I am working actively to get better at seeing that like to dislike, or that love to negativity, in a truer light, or as much as I can. You guys have heard me talking about the emotional support group that I created on Facebook. I've talked about that a lot. Now I've been talking about my Patreon, and the purposes of those largely are so that I have sounding boards where people are representing most of you who are good, nice people who are there to support me. And I want to make sure that I'm giving less energy to my comments and more energy to the people who support my work. So I hope you guys recognize that I am learning, I am growing through this process, and I am listening to you guys. I will say though, there are some people that kind of echoed similar remarks to those that you kind people were giving across, but they were saying things like, oh, give it up, it's been the Trisha show for the past month, or no, you haven't provided any new insights, we've already heard you, move on already. And to people like that, quite frankly, those people can kiss my ass, because they're not bringing anything constructive to the table, and they're just stopping by my comment section to make a little jab that they know is a little jab and want to pretend is not a little jab. And so that's another kind of group of people that I need to try to shut out and not put any energy towards. But I'm recognizing that most of you were not those people. They're, for the most part, from what I saw, now I think you guys may have gathered that I visited my comment section and then I realized like, oh God, I've got to back up. I don't know that this is the place for me right now. You know, I saw some of the comments, I responded to a good bit of them. I kind of dipped my toe back in the water a little bit, like I think this morning. And I've noticed that there are kind of two types of people out there, to generalize more or less, two types of subscribers out there commenting on my work. There is those of you who are providing your thoughtful insights, constructive criticism, the people who want to see my channel continue to grow, to continue to get better, and to continue providing content that people love. Then there's another kind of subscriber slash supporter, and those of you are the kinds of people who say like, hey, this is your channel, you talk about whatever you want, we support you nonetheless. And there are a couple of outliers that I still put in that category that are people who are kind of like, hey, like, I actually didn't watch that video because I was kind of tired of the topic, but I didn't feel like it was my place to tell you not to talk about it. Somebody else said, I actually stopped watching your videos because I realized YouTube drama was bad for me, but I'm still subscribed. I want to support you. And I really, really respect those people. I respect people that decide to skip my videos for genuinely good reasons, but still want to support me. Like that's so unnecessarily kind. But basically I have two types of people in my kind of group of supporters. I've got the people with the thoughtful criticisms, and I've got the people that have the undying support and providing me the liberation to do whatever I want with my channel. And to those of you who took the time to leave me those thoughtful comments, expressing your concern for my well-being, expressing your hopes for my channel, expressing your desire to see me succeed, I hear you guys. Hell would freeze over the day that I come onto YouTube to offer other people criticism and tell you guys that you can't criticize me. That's just wrong on so many levels. Obviously, we know that. And I hope that most of you have seen that I do take constructive criticism, and I have worked a lot of these criticisms into my videos. A lot of the small changes you guys may or may not have noticed have come from those thoughtful criticisms. So I do hear you. I think this was just the first time that I saw such a massive kind of echo of the same sentiment that felt like a criticism of my entire video, my entire concept, everything that I had to say. You guys are not in the right for criticizing my video in its totality. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I just think that it was overwhelming for me, and it was really embarrassing. Just like I was embarrassed at that party when I tipped up a bottle of vodka and the room was quiet and concerned. I was embarrassed. And this time I was embarrassed. I put something up, I got a little bit feisty and passionate, and I put it up on the internet, excited to see what you guys would say, and the room was kind of like, what's going on with her? Like, uh-oh, this might end badly. That's embarrassing. And I think that might have been part of the reason I kind of started to break down a little bit and kind of was sobbing, kind of wondering, like, am I going to be able to do this? Can I do YouTube? Can I continue? It scared me that I started to think that way. And then I remembered that I've heard just about all of the creators I respect say that they feel that way from time to time. So I do believe that things are going to be okay. But essentially, if a large majority of you guys, or even just a large portion of you guys, are saying essentially the same thing, I need to recognize that there's got to be a good bit of validity in that message. And so there's one of two things I could do. I could do exactly what you guys are advising me to do, and it could definitely put me on a good trajectory, perhaps a trajectory that looks similar to other creators who have succeeded. Or I can ignore that advice respectfully and tell you guys, hey, I know you feel this way, but just stick with me or don't. But I'm gonna take this path. I'm gonna take a shot in the dark here because it's what I'm passionate about, and I'm gonna do it. And if I fall flat on my ass, then I do. But I've got to chase this thing, or I've got to do this the way that feels right for me. I think about half of you guys were around when I made it very clear that I started this channel a couple months ago, really as a place where I get to talk about the things that I want to talk about and nothing else. Now that my audience is larger, I don't feel like I'm the only person to think about anymore. I do want to think about what you guys want to hear from me. So I think there is a balance here that I need to strike between what you guys want and what I want to create. But at the end of the day, whether it's something you guys like or not, I have to stay true to myself. I have to make sure that I am providing content that I am passionate about. I think you are all very familiar with kind of the T channel and drama channel formula and are aware that that is just not me. That's not how I think. That's not what I want my channel to be. And what I want my channel to be might be very different from anything that exists on the platform. I don't know if that makes me sound like I have some sort of inflated ego. I just think that I am doing something different from anything I've ever seen, and that is either really good or really bad. That could mean that I'm carving out a space that maybe people didn't know was needed, or it might mean that this is just bound to fail. It's just going to sink because there's a reason nobody's doing this. It just doesn't work, and I could see it going either way, honestly. But I do hope after hearing me out, you guys understand that when it comes to certain videos that may look a certain way on the surface, like me beating a dead horse, where I feel like I'm bringing different questions to the forefront, that perhaps there's a sense of nuance in those videos that might not be obvious at first glance, might seem unnecessary to you guys. Or maybe you guys are just tired of hearing the same names over and over again. I get that. What I hope to do is to be able to take your feedback, take it to heart, and utilize that to make my content better. But to some degree, perhaps oppose some of that to some degree to continue doing what I want to do with my channel, so that I'm only giving you guys my authentic self. And I do ask you guys to continue giving your constructive criticism. Don't stop doing that. I think some of you felt guilty because I took this so hard last night, and I am sorry for making you feel that way. I forgot your name, but there's one of you in particular. I said I recognized your picture and you apologized so profusely, and I told you that's unnecessary. I don't want you to feel like you have to do that. You guys, you say things, you say them respectfully, and I tell you that that's what I love, and I don't want my behavior to reflect something different. If you guys are respectful and you guys just want to offer something positive, continue to do that, please. I ask that of you. But I also ask that you carry a bit of faith in me that what I'm doing is what I need to do. So if it's not something that you feel is for you, please skip the video. Another one of you, again, I'm so sorry I don't know your names off the top of my head. I know your faces, I can see them. There's one of you who keeps watching my rant videos even though they kind of set off an uncomfortable feeling that is kind of deep-rooted, and I don't want you guys to watch these videos to support me when they are at your own expense. Don't do that. I have such a supportive bunch around me, but us taking care of ourselves is more important than me getting a view out of this. So if it's not something that you care to watch or something that rubs you wrong, anything like that, please just skip the video. I try to do my best to be very transparent in my thumbnails and my titles about what we're going to be talking about. So I'm not going to be offended if you just don't care about that topic that day. And lastly, I kind of just spoke a good bit, like I said, to this group that provides thoughtful criticism and insight. And to kind of address this group of people that stand by my side no matter what and encourage me to do exactly what I want and nothing else with my channel. You both are right. You actually are both completely right in what you say in terms of what I should do. That sounds counterintuitive, but it is possible, I believe, for this side to be 100% right in what they're saying and this side to be 100% right in what they're saying. I just ask for those of you that are being super supportive of what I want to do, just please don't try to come to my rescue against the people who are well-meaning, and taking time to be respectful and thoughtful and insightful in their criticisms. That's just the one thing I ask of you guys. I appreciate your undying support like nobody can understand, especially at a time like this. This is such a weird and crazy time. We're all probably going to look back on this time and just be so embarrassed by how we acted online. Kind of like how I feel when I see memories from 2009 on my Facebook. Like, we're going to look back on this and it's going to be a weird time and we're going to be embarrassed at how kind of like cuckoo we all were. And I recognize that now. But it's such a high stress, high anxiety time for so many people. And because of that, you guys want to come to my aid and you guys want to make sure that I'm uplifted. But please recognize that the people who are providing this feedback are also doing the same, but in a different way. So I'm recognizing that a vast majority of you guys are just looking out for my best interests in different ways, but that's what you're doing. And I can't tell you how grateful I am to have you guys backing me in whatever way you've decided to. You know, I got in front of a camera because I felt like nobody wanted to hear what I had to say, which is not true. It really is my own insecurities. But I'm a talkative girl. I'm an opinionated girl. And somehow I have amassed a group of people that care about what I have to say. And I don't know that I can completely wrap my head around that just yet, but I know that I am so incredibly flattered. I know I'm tearing up. I promise they're good tears. Don't think that this is something to be concerned about. This is me expressing my utter gratitude to you guys for being there in whatever way you guys present. I know that you mean well. I hope you can be patient with me as I sort of sort through what I'm going to do with my content moving forward. I'm kind of throwing a lot of things out there and seeing what sticks. And it might be that I talk about a certain topic over and over again. And if that's what works and that's what I enjoy doing, that's what I'm going to do. If I lose any of you because of that, I've said this before, I'll be sad to see you go, but I understand that we need to do what we need to do. And at the end of the day, this is YouTube, guys. This is entertainment. So, I mean, what else is there to say? I appreciate what you guys have to say, whether critical or just supportive. I appreciate it all. I appreciate you guys just coming and listening. And I'm trying to keep in mind that most of you who are listening and agree with me and support me are probably not the ones sounding off in the comments. That's so normal. That's how I behave. I don't comment, yes, I agree with you on every single video I like. I don't. I typically just watch and enjoy and then go on with my day. And I have to keep in mind that's probably what a lot of you guys are doing. So I'm going to continue to work on these things and to find my place here on this platform, and to continue to get better at managing this roller coaster, or what I call emotional gymnastics, which is becoming a YouTuber, especially in a short span of time. But I am strong, I am resilient, and I am the girl who is going to be able to navigate that. And I will do that for you guys. But more importantly, I'm going to do that for myself. So this time I really am looking forward to what you guys have to say in the comments. And to you, the person who's watching who's not me, I never expected you to be there. So when I say that I'm so grateful that you're here, I mean it. Thank you. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for hearing me out yet again. And I am looking forward to hear what you guys have to say about this message. So I'll see you in the comments. Bye.